Hello, how is everybody doing? Hopefully, everybody is staying healthy. Um, you may or may not know I'm getting over a cold. You can probably hear it in my voice. Well, it's more than a cold, but I'm getting better, so that's a good thing. So hopefully everybody is staying healthy. Who am I? I'm Mary from Rivers Journey Wellness. I'm doing this live partly as a Q&A for my membership, but also for anybody that's just looking to get either a little bit of information about spirituality, metaphysics, energy healing, coaching, counseling. I run the gamut there. So that just to get a little information, or if you're looking for a little bit of healing for yourself. If you know what distance Reiki is, or at least you know what Reiki is, I'm able to provide that as a Reiki master, practitioner, and teacher. And then also just being able to incorporate other ways of allowing the body to naturally heal. And so we're going to do a little bit of Reiki infused meditation today, all around the gift of letting go. So welcome. Hopefully this is something that you can benefit from. You can listen to it today, obviously live, or you can always come back to the replay. So this was actually the topic that I picked out last week. I was going to do that on the 1st, but there was just no way that I was going to be able to do a live last week. I just spent most of the week sleeping. So it was in line with the full moon in Gemini, in that energy of releasing, of letting go. So I do feel like it's sort of timeless, though, even though it was inspired by the full moon. I feel like we always are able to release and let go whenever we need to. So this is just one of those things. It sort of struck me as I was creating this for last week, how important it is to sort of have an opportunity to take inventory of your life, see what's working, see what's not working, and really give yourself that permission to let go of the things that aren't working. I don't know why we have such a tough time with that, but collectively, I feel like we do as humans. Not that we go to the point of like hoarding or, really just, I don't know, filling our space with clutter, although sometimes we do that as well. But I feel like it's a really tough thing to give ourselves permission to just release things that aren't working. It oftentimes is mindset, it's beliefs, it's old habits, it's old patterns, and we default to those when we're going through stress, when we're feeling overwhelmed, when we're not really sure what we want to do, what our next step is going to be. There's this moment of maybe paralysis analysis where we're kind of stuck, we're sort of frozen, or it can be just there's this lack of clarity. I really don't know, but what I'm doing is not creating something helpful for us. So hopefully this is helpful. I always write little notes for myself because I think I get easily distracted. So let me pull up my notes and see what I wanted to touch on. I know if you have any questions about the gift of letting go or letting go, just feel free to type it in the chat. As things come up, if something comes to you, feel free to use that chat and I'll answer it the best that I can. If you've worked with me before, you know that I do really follow the moon's lunations. So we have a bunch of lunations through each month, and the two major ones, the new moon and the full moon. And the full moon is a time for releasing and letting go. Sometimes things are a little bit more clear or illuminated to see like, oh, okay, it's this thing that I need to work on releasing. And it can be very small, it can be very large. It kind of just depends on where you're at in your life and what's going on for you. But with this last full moon, it really became clear to me that some things in my life weren't working for me. And I was doing the same thing that I've always done, expecting to get different results. And that's the definition of insanity. And I had to really look at like where is this mindset, or where is this belief, or where is this this old story or narrative, where did it get its roots? Where did it take root in my life that it's still playing out. So I know that I'm somebody that is pretty open about like, oh, whoops, I did that thing again. And I want you to get to that place where you're comfortable as well, where you're not judging and criticizing yourself for any missteps or reverting back to an old habit or pattern, because we're human. But, I think it's good if we talk about it. I think it's good if we put it out there. It takes a little bit of the sting and the bite away from it. So, one of the things that I sort of wanted to start with was, you know, do you feel like you're living your best life? Maybe in some respects, maybe some shades or variations of it. Um, but are you? And if you are, that's awesome. That's absolutely fabulous. I'm super excited to always hear about people that are living their best lives, living life on their own terms, bringing themselves to this world authentically and genuinely. It's fabulous because then you inspire everybody else along the way. Um, but not all of us fall into that category. So, what about just the best version of yourself? Are you bringing the best version of yourself to the world? And again, that sort of means living authentically, living genuinely, living within your own integrity. There we go, and really being able to feel like the choices that you're making are conscious choices. You're putting thought and care into them, and there's a reason why you're doing that. You're trying to create that meaning and that purpose within your life. So are you? Maybe you are. And again, if you are, that's absolutely fabulous. I feel like we go through like jags where I feel like I'm on top of things and I'm doing really well. And then life happens and life gets busy and kind of goes to the wayside. So, another question I just want to pose, and this might be just stuff to start thinking about. If you don't have an immediate answer, it's okay. You can kind of just like put it in the back of your mind as something to address later for yourself. This is also stuff that you could do journaling wise. You can pose it for like a meditation or just kind of setting it and seeing what comes back. What feedback do you receive either from other people or, signs and synchronicities from your day-to-day life. So the next big question is, do you believe that you are filled with infinite potential? That just you, who you are right now, you have that ability to tap into just limitless possibilities, limitless opportunities. So I know a lot of people struggle with this piece, and there can be some mindset with this that, like, these things don't happen to people like me. Abundance is what other people can bring into their world, or, good jobs aren't available to everybody. There might be some limiting mindset around that. But really going back to that place of like something within me is able to um, recognize, I guess, that there is infinite potential in my being, in my essence, at my core. And so, where do you feel like you are with these questions? Do you feel really positively? Do you feel like you've been waffling a little bit? I know when stress starts to increase in our life, forget about it. We don't feel super stable. We don't feel super grounded. That's when a lot of the worries, the fears, and the doubts creep in. That's when anxiety increases. And we may not feel like it's in my cards or, it's something that I'm able to manifest really. And so if you are struggling with feeling like the best version of you, if it feels like you can't even tap into the best version of you, or if it feels like there's a lot of unfulfilled wishes or potential, even desires, that there isn't enough of this divine life force energy within you or available to you, just that you can't co create your dreams for whatever reason. That tells me when it feels like people are reflecting that back, that tells me that it's time to do a little bit of introspection. It's time to do a little bit of an inventory for yourself, on yourself, basically. When you start to look at your mindset, that um, it can be beliefs as well, like I said, habits and patterns, that sort of thing too. But when you look at that and see, where am I holding myself back? What role do I play in that? We have to loosen our really tight grip on this is how it always has been, this is how it always will be. We have to start loosening up that grip of the old stories, the beliefs, the narratives that we tell ourselves that keep us stuck. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about, and I know this is a really this is a really tough ask for clients, and they tend to bristle when I ask them. Um, it actually, I have seen it when I'm working with clients one on one. I can see their expression change. I can see their energy change. I can see body just kind of cave in a little bit or get really into like a defensive posturing. So I know this is a tough question to ask, and I know it's a tough question to be able to reflect on. But what is your role in your own suffering? What role do you play in that? The reality is, life isn't just impacting you because it's random or because it's cruel or mean or unjust or whatever it might be, that we have a role in that. We either recreate relationships that are unhealthy, we negate our own needs, we tell ourselves that, we got to meet other people's needs and expectations first before our own. It's all stuff that we have a role in. We're creating this as well. Just like we can create or co-create amazing things to be drawn into our life, we can also create a little bit of stagnation, a little bit of stuckness, a little bit of frustration, a little bit of, I don't know, closing the door on opportunities. So I know it's a really tough question to go within, especially if we're used to kind of like pointing out like other people, how they're impacting us, because that person didn't love me enough, or because that person, got different opportunities than me, or because that person was raised in a different family than me, right? There's always something else. But what role do I play in that? What role am I currently playing in it? Sometimes the role that we play in the past with our suffering it's like we keep cycling through it and we can see those patterns. Sometimes it's a different variation. New hurts, new pains, new struggles might come up and we try to adapt to that, or we get stuck in a grief state. And so we stay in this new suffering state, I suppose. And so where do I um I don't know, how do I add to that? And I hate to put that out there because I know a lot of times people see the struggles in the world and feel like, no, the world is cold or unforgiving or unloving, and it's really not. Most things in life are pretty neutral, and we assign the label of good or bad to it. So Jail says, that is a tough question, but so true. I resonate with that. I buffer by blaming my subconscious. She really likes old patterns and thinking, of course, it's comfortable. The brain loves patterns. And so it wants to go back and, oh, you want something to do? Go back and do the thing you used to do. So, it does seek out those patterns. It does get us back into the groove. Things feel comfortable because we've been there before, even though it's not helpful. It's like, oh yeah, I know how to deal with this. I'm going to get passive aggressive or, whatever it might be. So sometimes they're not the most healthy fallbacks, but there you go. Yeah. And so the reason why we want to start looking at that is we want to open up if there's any place of like inner shame or blame that's holding us back from our potential, holding us back from becoming the best versions of ourselves, or even living our best lives, right? We want to kind of eliminate that the best that we can. Shame has no place. Shame has no place. The other emotions, they have places. They serve a purpose. Shame we want to kind of get rid of the best we can through healing. And one of the ways is kind of opening it up to this to see that, like, even if I go back, even if I revert, even if my subconscious sabotages me, without my conscious knowing, it's okay. Like, I'm still fully intact. I'm still fully worthy. I'm still fully deserving of all the good things in life. So we want to sort of open up that a little bit. And I can say I do a lot of my own personal reflection and my own personal observation. And I think part of that is my training. I think who I am professionally, but I think a lot of it also is who I am just as an individual. And I know most people that I work with are really conscientious people. They're pretty awesome. And, when something happens, when feelings get hurt or there's some sort of struggle or confusion, there that reflex of like going back and saying like how much of this is mine, right? What did I do to create this stress or this struggle? And I like that piece of being conscientious, but sometimes it's not ours to hold on to. Those are the things that we want to practice letting go, giving ourselves permission to let go of those things. But when we have that opportunity to be introspective, we also have an opportunity to send ourselves love and compassion. That's going to help smooth over whatever the current stress is or whatever the current struggle is. And so through that observation and reflection, I can really trace the little threads of like, and again, we're talking about reflection and observation without judgment, without criticism, giving ourselves a little bit of grace to stumble and take missteps. Like, okay, that's always my little caveat. But I can see when I trace those little threads, I can see the parts of me that are creating some of the problem, right? Whether I'm not receiving stuff that I'm hoping to, the things that I desire, the things that I want, I'm not manifesting, I'm not drawing in the things for my highest good to keep helping me to grow and expand, right? I can sort of see, oh, that's the role that I played. And it's not to like beat myself up or it's not to put myself down. It's really just to have that awareness of if I don't want to feel stuck still, how do I sidestep that? And if I trace those threads back, I can see like, oh, okay, this part of my thinking got me in trouble, or this part of behaving got me in trouble. This habit that's really not self-serving, not helping me get towards my goal. There it is again, right? I just sort of reverted back to that in a time of stress or whatever it might be. So it kind of gives us new information so that we can create not only new, healthier habits, patterns, mindset, beliefs, but also we feel like we have power. We always have personal power, whether we choose to hold on to it or give it away to another person. We always have personal power. But when we start to feel like, okay, there's an opportunity for me to create change, to modify, or to support, this new belief that I'm wanting to establish, or this new habit that I want to really take hold, it gives you an opportunity to feel a little bit more empowered in your life. And that's really the thing that's going to motivate change, not when we feel so stuck and depleted. So sometimes I forget, and I'm sure most people have experienced this to some degree, but sometimes I forget my role in suffering. Sometimes I forget the role that my thoughts and my beliefs play, and especially my worries, fears, and doubts. Those are going to be the thing that I forget are so powerful, and really can stagnate us, like just coming to like a screeching halt. Sometimes I forget I forget about my personal power in my ability to create change in my life. I forget that magic is going to unfold, or I'm going to receive the things that I desire, based on what I'm thinking, what my belief is, how I'm managing myself. I can forget that I always get stuck oh, I should say always, but I do get stuck often in feeling like, I'm the only one that's experiencing this, right? Or I'm the only one that's available to create change. So I sort of negate, like, the universe is here to support me. The universe is here to guide me. I have all of my goddesses and the archangels and any sort of ascended master, any ancestor that's available to me, my Reiki guide, my spirit guide, my animal allies, they're all here for co-creating with me, right? But sometimes I get stuck in that, like, alone. I'm all alone. Sometimes I forget, and I know this is a big one for a lot of people, I forget about drawing and maintaining healthy boundaries with other people. I say yes to things that I don't want to do. I forget to say no. And, I pile stuff on. I take on more work than I can usually handle or I can handle in those moments. And, there's something to, like, really checking in with yourself and seeing, like, how are those boundaries? Are they healthy? Sometimes I can forget to care for my whole body, mind, well, whole self period, but mind, body, and spirit. And I was laughing to myself when I got sick because although I was feeling kind of cruddy, but I was laughing because I was like, I just said a few weeks ago I was feeling really crisp around the edges. I was starting to feel depleted. I knew that I was starting to feel depleted. This is a really stressful time, not only for work, but I think personally, just so much going on. And I know that I need to take more steps in caring for myself. I know this to be true, but I found myself kind of getting into the old habit of, like, I've got to get it all done. And what happens? It kind of helps. I don't know. Not to say that that created the invitation to get sick, but I think we do get depleted. And when we're feeling depleted, the immune system definitely breaks down. So that can be a problem, right? But I forget also, I need to celebrate, I need to play, I need to do all of these things that nurture and nourish myself. And so I'm assuming most people fall into that bucket sometimes as well. Pretty sure I'm not the only one that forgets these things. And so I notice that in those moments, that's when I really cling to old beliefs, old mindset, things that don't serve me. And I know that I get into that habit of practicing, we'll call it, old habits and patterns that don't serve me. And so if that's somewhere that you've been, or if that's somewhere where you are now, we want to give ourselves this gift of letting go of the old mindset, of the old habits, of the old patterns, whatever is not serving us, to say, I'm done with this. I've worked with this before, and it kind of has the same ending each time where I sort of feel like I get bit in the behind, right? Maybe I want something a little bit more empowering, and I'm deserving of that. We're all deserving of that, right? So maybe I want to release this, because the more that I grip, the more that I cling to those old things, it's like I'm putting out repellent to the universe of, like, don't give me any good stuff, give me more crud, right? And so when that happens, I end up feeling more frustrated, more depleted. There's more suffering, right? So we want to be able to just loosen that a little bit and see what can come in. And so I don't know if this resonates with anybody, but I think suffering is pretty universal. I think that it is exhausting. It's so exhausting. And the crazy thing, is that it takes so much of our energy to keep us stuck and frozen. We use so much energy to stay there, to stay angry at other people, to stay bitter, resentful, to feel like we have to do it, clean up everyone's messes, do it all by ourselves, like whatever the thing is, right? Whatever role we play in that suffering, it takes a lot of energy to keep feeding that little monster. And so we sort of put healing and growing on the back burner when we're in that state, because all of the energy is going into that icky state, we'll call it, that suffering, right? And so it can seem as though, if we I hate to say it in this way, but if we stop committing ourselves to suffering, because even if it's not a conscious awareness, even if it's not an intention, right? We don't intentionally want to self-sabotage ourselves. We do end up self-sabotaging ourselves, but it's not usually an intentional thing. But if we want to stop, right, and instead commit ourselves to just healing, to being, to experiencing, to expressing ourselves in a unique way, in a genuine way, to really be open to growing, to observing, to reflecting, maybe doing that inventory, to really open to receiving, to evolving, to expanding, to dreaming. I do a lot of dreaming, a lot of daydreaming, to manifesting. That's when the miracles happen. Not usually when we're suffering, not really when we have that like vice grip on old habits and patterns that aren't working for us. That's usually not when the good stuff comes in. But when we just release it a little bit, we let go of it a little bit, that's when all of the amazing things can unfold for us. And so, there again is that gift in letting go. When we just release the grip a little bit, we're able to rebalance our energy, or at least the energy within, our world, our life. And then we start to create these conscious choices for ourselves to serve ourselves for the highest good, right? But giving ourselves that permission to let go just opens up space, energetic space, mental space, emotional space, physical and spiritual space, so that we can welcome in the good stuff, the stuff that we want, the stuff that's not going to create more suffering, but instead is going to lead to all those positive things. And I think when we're just in the grind, when we're just busy, busy, busy and doing, 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 we often forget, like, I need to have a little bit of trust, have a little bit of faith, whatever you want to call it, to allow that realigning of energy, to have that shift within my thoughts and my actions, so that they're a little bit more aligned to what's for my highest good. And then the awesome thing, I mean, I'm not super patient, but the awesome thing is if I sit back and I watch or I observe or I experience, I get to watch the magic unfold, which is pretty awesome. So I don't know if that makes sense to people. I'm assuming for some people it probably resonates, but it was something that I'd been thinking about the last couple weeks, and I just see it happening with so many people that I feel like I know other people. I don't know if they'll watch this, but I know other people can resonate with this. So I thought we would do a little practice in just letting it go, just releasing, just giving ourselves that permission. So, hopefully, like I said, this is something that you can resonate with or is resonating for you. One of the things that I'm going to be offering just in a couple weeks, we have the winter solstice. So I'm going to do a live event for the winter solstice where we're going to do a little bit of inventory. We're going to do a little bit of play and celebration. We're going to do a little bit of just allowing ourselves to heal and to rest so that we can have this restorative winter for ourselves, so that we can pick up in spring and everything can unfold magically in the way that it needs to. So I'm going to be posting about my winter solstice I'll put it up over this weekend, because I'm also opening up membership again if you want to be part of the Soul Journey membership. I've changed a few things, tweaked a few things, but we're still going to have some live events. We're going to do weekly oracle card reading for just to see what the energy is that we need to be kind of paying attention to. You get free access to my monthly sacred circle. You can come to the live Q&A if you have questions, or you can email me questions if you have them. We're going to have a couple special guests within the membership, a couple of my friends that do some fun magical things. So they're going to talk to us, and we get to sample some of their healing magic. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We're focused on the energy of winter. So really thinking about how we nurture ourselves, how we nourish ourselves. So if you do not have a self-care practice, If you don't know how to manage your morning and evening ritual so that you can be your optimal not only during the day, but then also having really restful and restorative sleep, this might be the membership that you want to join. And it's just for the winter. It's just for the next, I don't know, I think it ends up being 8 weeks, but I know the winter is longer than 8 weeks. But we're going to really go deep into self-care. We're going to really understand not only strategies for you to utilize and how to create that practice, but then like, what are the roadblocks? Where are the things that are happening in your life? Whether it's, again, mindset or beliefs or habits or patterns that sort of deplete you, that really don't allow you to be the best version of yourself. So we'll do a little bit of work on that in a very gentle, in a very soft and loving way. So if you're interested in that, that's going to go up on this weekend. This weekend it's opening up. So I'll put the link in this description for that as well. Otherwise, it'll be up on my website at Rivers Journey Wellness. So lots of different ways, again, to kind of work with this energy. But I needed to do a little bit of this work. And for anybody that is needing to just get back to that place of releasing the stuff that doesn't serve you, letting go, giving yourself that permission or giving yourself that gift of letting go so that you make space in your life for all the good stuff that you want to draw in. Hopefully this will be good practice for you. So I'm going to start by lighting a little bit of sage. Get comfortable if you can. There's no expectation. You don't have to go into meditation or do anything particular with breath. I just want you to start to get comfortable where you are. I'm just going to light just a tiny bit. Had a little issue with me setting off the fire alarm now it's been more than a few weeks ago. So like just a little bit. So this is just to start to help us cleanse and clear, open. We also just want to let our guides and our guardians know that we're asking for their support, asking for their guidance, seeing the wisdom, seeing the gift and letting go. Sometimes I know it can feel like, it sounds like one more thing I have to do. But the reality is, it actually, once we set that intention, there's no more pressure. There's no more push. There's no more hard stuff. I mean, challenges come up still, of course. But we're not using that energy and that effort to keep us in that place. So just get comfortable, whatever that means for you. And if you are comfortable with breath work, I just encourage you to take a couple deep breaths in. I know for me it's a little challenging to take a really good breath in. But just take a breath in the best you can. Oh, the sage does not want to go out. It keeps relighting itself. What's that? It's helpful to get us back into our body, back into the present. And you're welcome to notice any tightness, any stress or strain in the physical body. And if you do notice that, just take a moment to relax it. Maybe you have to stretch out your neck a little bit or get comfortable in your seat. Sometimes people have to move their jaw around. Sometimes if you clench your jaw when you start to get anxious or worried, you just need to release that. Norbert had a big sigh. And just imagine that you're beginning to ground, if you haven't already, ground into Mother Earth, releasing those grounding cords. or roots, or however you imagine it, so that you can feel more stabilized, so that you can feel held. Sometimes when we're suffering, it's hard to think about somebody else caring for our needs or being available to care for our needs. We're so stuck in that doing it alone. Sometimes it can be scary to have the trust that somebody else or something else is going to hold us or support us. If we've been disappointed in the past, or people have hurt us, people have failed to support us in meaningful ways. But Earth and your guides and your guardians, they're not going to let you down. They're not going to let go. So just begin to allow, I say, your mind to soften. Just giving yourself that permission to just be fully present, noticing your breath, noticing your body. When thoughts come up, just return to the breath. This is just the gift of grounding, of being able to center ourselves, to take a pause from the stress of life and to go within. And as we do this, as we make space, as we soften, we're really opening up to spirit, to our higher self. We're making room, making space for spirit. We're allowing our higher wisdom to guide us. It's not going to steer you down the wrong path. It's not going to put you in a harmful situation. Fear will, doubt will. Your higher self won't. So we're just returning to that place of spirit. So with that, I'm just going to use a little bit of crystals and a little bit of Reiki to just allow more release. Just support that, again, the gift of letting go for you. So we're going to you can affirm this to yourself if you want. There are some statements I'm going to be saying. Otherwise, you can just allow the experience, be open to receiving not only distance Reiki, but healing. I release the struggle of suffering. I forgive myself for any role that I've played in my suffering. I'm opening to my most aligned and most expansive version of myself. I am making more space for receiving for my highest good. You want to be doing this with love and compassion, remember. No criticism, no judgment, no shaming, no blaming of self. I let go of outdated and exhausting beliefs, mindset, and habits. I forgive myself for returning to old habits. But now I see those have created more suffering for myself. When I trace those threads of mindset or beliefs, I also can see opportunities for change. When I trace those threads of mindset or belief, I can also see the possibilities of manifesting. With this awareness, I'm opening to becoming the best version of myself. It's in there. When we quiet the fears, when we quiet the doubts, when we open ourselves to spirit, our true self is revealed. And that is the best version. That is the best version of you. From a foundation of love, with a practice, with patience, I create new and healthier, more supportive habits. And if any fear comes up, any doubt, any worry, I can't do it, or it's something that I've tried and I haven't been successful, just soften that. Just reframe that for yourself. I may have struggled with this in the past, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be a struggle in the future. Trust that you're going to make the best decisions and choices for yourself. I am open to seeing and allowing myself to experience the brightest light within me, the light of pure potentiality, the light of divine purpose, the most radiant light of universal life force energy, Reiki. I'm ready to release anything that dampens my light, whether it's conscious or unconscious to me. All for my highest good. It's always for the highest good of others as well. As we heal and grow, it just supports other people as well. They can then in turn heal and grow. And as my clarity increases for who I truly am and what I truly desire, I'm able to release all that no longer serves me. Just releasing that down your grounding cords. Anything that doesn't serve your highest good. I give myself the gift of letting go whenever it serves my highest good. And if you have an intention for yourself, feel free to say it out loud or affirm it to yourself silently. Sending you a little extra Reiki. Just sealing it in. I'm going to seal it in with just a little sound. Just a tiny bit of sound. So just know there's never a wrong time. There's never a bad moment to do a little bit of an inventory, to look at what do I need to release or what do I need to let go of. There's never a bad time to think about how am I creating these patterns for myself or getting stuck back in this pattern. What is my role? I know it's a tough question. I know I see people react to it. It can sort of spiral some people where it does feel like it's a lot of blame and shame, self-blame and self-shame. Not that I'm shaming them, but self-blame and self-shame for messages that they've heard from other people, that they shouldn't take care of their own needs or that their needs aren't as important as somebody else's, the people pleasers in this world. They can say, yeah, I totally know what that feels like. And so, when I ask people, what role are you playing in this? I think there is a little bit of cringing that happens. We're part of it, right? It's not happening to us in a vacuum. There's something that we're doing, thinking, saying, behaving, whatever, I don't know, that is sort of adding some of that fuel to the fire. So hopefully this just gives you something to think about with how do I want to open up to letting go so that I can be open to what serves me, what's the best for me, the best version of me, being able to really tap into that. Oh, thank you. Jill says that was amazing. The affirmations were spot on. I'm totally thinking about that. We're on the same wavelength. It might be a great shorts video. I was thinking that too. Thank you for the reminder of no self-blaming. Yes, or self-judgment is required to recognize and release. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, I think it's part of our conditioning, but I do want to reframe that as like, I love when people are conscientious. I love when people take that pause to say, ooh, is there something I did? Am I responsible for some of this? But we can't take complete ownership of it unless we did something pretty awful. But most of the time we don't do things that are pretty awful to other people, not the conscientious people of the world. They're the ones that are holding the grief and the sadness, or are trying to help eliminate some of the pain from other people, just doing a lot of the people pleasing. And it can go into codependency as well, but that's not everyone falls into that bucket, obviously. So, just knowing, oh, there's Norbert stretching. You must say, oh, meditation's over. I can get up now and shake. So just knowing that, like, there shouldn't be room for self-blame or shaming ourselves, because odds are we didn't do anything to create the entirety of whatever the suffering is. But this is definitely something that's a good practice to try to trace those threads to see, ooh, what did I do? Was it, stinking thinking was coming back, or some limiting beliefs, or even just some habits and patterns that we have done for a very long time. But just to give us that awareness of like, I can do something different next time. And so I'm going to release the thing that's not working for us or for me. I'm going to release that so that I can then adapt or practice or engage in a different way, that serves me better, a different way that allows me to kind of bloom and blossom in my own way that really feels like the best version of me. So it's for me, it's good stuff. It's good practice. It's a hard one at first when you have to look at like, oh my, what did I do? What was my role? But again, and I do it with a lot of humor, obviously. It just softens it because yeah, we're gonna make mistakes. We definitely are. We're human, but if there's things that we're continuing to do that aren't working for us, aren't getting us to that goal, aren't opening up to receive, aren't opening the proverbial doors so that we can manifest, we do need to shift that so that we can feel like we have power and control in our little world, and that we're taking those steps, those inspired action steps towards something that we really want to manifest within our life, that we want to draw into our world. So if you want to celebrate winter solstice with me, like I said, that's coming up on the 21st. I'll put the link into the description. I forgot to do that before, so I'll do that after the video is done. And if you do want a little bit more information about the winter membership, that is going to be up to for the Soul Journey membership. I'm shrinking the title because it was a lot of words, so I'm just condensing it to Soul Journey membership. And then if that's too long, we'll condense it even more. But that's gonna go live on Saturday. Yeah, Saturday, Sunday, this weekend. So if you want information about that, you can find it. Otherwise, you can go to my website, Rivers Journey Wellness, and find that. I will be here next week. The following week, we will see how much I get done we celebrate Christmas. So I have to see how much I can get done around the house and for shopping and stuff. But if you have any questions, reach out to me. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day whenever you're listening to this. And always, if you have questions, you can always reach out. So wishing everyone well and stay healthy. Stay healthy. Take care of yourself and stay healthy. All right. Take care.